ways wooden boats can go down. But this was a Cayuga boatyard. And there was a beaver living, where all the boats tie up is where the barges used to come in and load molasses, okay? So it's this concrete thing, but if you get down with a dive mask, you can look back underneath, 15 feet, So it's built out over the water and it's wooden pilings and all that. Well, there's this beaver living back in there. So Al's sleeping on his boat with his wife, and right next to his ear, this thing just starts eating its way through the boat. It's like old mahogany, and evidently the beaver was like, man, I never had this before. This is awesome, Toss a little bottom paint on. It's like super great. And he was going crazy. And Al's out in like in his underwear at 2 a.m. trying to, shag the beaver. The beaver wanted that boat, And if he hadn't been there,
that beaver would have been through the side in no time.
They had to haul the boat out and do a plank repair, because it had eaten easily halfway through the plank before he finally got the thing gone,
Well, and mahogany is like the softest. Mahogany,
especially
is
old mahogany, old Philippine.
You work with mahogany, you're like, you can understand why didn't everybody want to work with that 24/7? It's the nicest wood in the world to work with. I mean, it does everything well.
Well, when we owned the Philippines, that worked out pretty good for us.
And not for the Filipinos.
No. When they kicked us out is when suddenly Philippine mahogany became like gold, So, and the other mahoganies, to be fair, aren't necessarily so beautiful to work with.
No, you're right.
So, Philippine mahogany, which isn't even a mahogany, it's a cedar. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. No.
It's a type of cedar, and that's why it's so nice to work with. Except the beauty of it is, unlike cedar, it doesn't have these defined grain, right? It's pretty, doesn't matter.
You can tell which way the grain goes, but you can't tell much else.
It's not that important. It's not as important as like your winter and summer grain and your red cedars or your white cedars. So, it's awesome wood. You're right. And that's why everybody was building boats as much as they could until they came out with plywood. And then they were like, oh, well, let's just peel the tree and glue it up in big slabs and we'll sell it to people that way. And that was awesome too. So.